Sit back, relax, put your belt on, and enjoy the show.
So the final game for the weekend was the Crusaders taking it 33-16 to the Hurricanes, 5 tries to 2. We all wanted to see David Havili back. I don't think it was the game that we expected from him, but he returned after preseason concussion. Will Jordan, replaced him off the bench as well after a preseason rib injury. In terms of new injuries, we had Ethan Blackadder. He got concussed himself. Jackson Garden-Bishop limping off before halftime. I think it's because he actually made his first run in professional rugby, so that tired him out a bit. And then Asafa Amua, his shoulder injury as well, which hurts to see because he's been playing so well. How did you see this one? Is there anything? I know you were saying this very early days, but I mean, the Crusaders, they just do not get tries scored against them in driving mauls. The Hurricanes, kept going for it, even though it, or had a couple cracks at it, even though it just never seems to happen. But there was almost, was it a driving maul try against them? Asafa Mua, was it that broke off, or no, Riccatelli? I don't know if that statistic counts.
Yeah, that was they keep going back to this 3 years of no rolling mauls tries scored against Crusaders. You're an analyst, Brendon. Does that count? Do you remember the one where they kind of didn't actually go anywhere, but Riccatelli did break off the back of the rolling maul and score? What do you think?
Look, I think it's cheating to only look at whether it's scored off a rolling maul. If it's scored off a line out in that 22, it surely has to count.
Good.
But I think what the Crusaders do so well, and this is what the Brumbies have done on the converse, you create a real fear in teams, and teams start doing really stupid things against the Brumbies as soon as they get into that zone. So I've tracked the Brumbies from last year. Their line out in any other zone is average to poor, but they get into your 22 and suddenly it's as if teams, it's like they had 8 pints of Guinness. They don't have knees anymore. Everything just buckles and goes to crap. Obviously, this is something to do with the Brumbies, really having nailed that technique. They're extremely calm, but the Crusaders, for me, have that calmness on defense in that zone. It's like something just clicks and things work out, but it has to do with teams knowing, oh shit, we've just kicked to the 22 of the Crusaders. They never concede here. Why did we do that? We're going to screw it up and end up doing it. So statistics-wise, I'd love to see that one change as well.
Yeah, take the points. That's the way you're going to do it against them.
I thought this game was defined by Artie Sevilla's yellow card as the Crusaders were trying their own rolling maul. Personally, as a fantasy owner of Artie, I thought he had nothing to do with it, and it was an absolute robbery. Should have gone to any of the other forwards from the Hurricanes. But in that time, the Crusaders scored 3 tries. I think they really just completely ended the game in that space of 10 minutes. And from there, it was really how much pride the Hurricanes could put in their jersey. Which I thought they did really, really well. But the game was basically over. The Crusaders are just relentless or ruthless at taking advantage of that one-man advantage like no other team.
That's right. You talk about that momentum swift. It was remarkable because you'd remember Savia had his break relatively at the exact field position where the Crusaders ended up then having a scrum at the other side of the field and scoring off, and then the line-out maul that caused the red card. So you look at that break. He runs halfway across the field. He puts in a brilliant kick. It's a line-out. Now you're a line-out in the Crusaders 22. There's 50 things that can go right. One thing that can go wrong. But now this is where the Crusaders are, I suppose, truly special, as they know that attacking from their own 22 is the best place to attack from. The defense is just never set for it. You have 11 guys in the defensive line. Everyone's kind of looking for the kick. Throughout the game, you would have Lamar. Now I'm getting my names scrambled up here. These Kiwi names drive me insane. Anyway, you would have the 10 putting through chip kicks in the first 10 minutes, and that's just done to unsettle the 12 and the 13. They kick long, they kick for grass, so the 14 and the 15, and everyone has to kind of have a lookout. You cannot just join the defensive line to be up.
Yep.
And now the Crusaders are on their own 22. They've already unsettled your defense, and they run it from their own 22, and it's an easy thing for them to do because they do it over and over and over. They obviously train it as well. So they're really calm and comfortable doing it. And how easy is that? If more teams can just learn to kind of develop that calmness in that zone, because it's really not that hard to attack from.
Yep.
I thought player of the game for me was Cody Taylor. He's just immense for a second week in a row. I think he probably took it personally that Asafra Moore was being given all the plaudits after the first round, when, in all honesty, I thought he had a better game as well. He did actually capture the fantasy man of the match for this one as well. 81 points, 2 tries off 7 runs for 63 meters as well. 5 tackle busts and a line break. He was just everywhere, but I don't even think that really quite captures the impact he had in the game. He's just so dominant in every phase.
Yeah, well, they're blessed, aren't they? You know, it's going to be interesting to see what that pecking order looks like for that spot in New Zealand.
Yeah,
obviously different players again. You cannot really discount the Crusaders at this stage because they're technically so good. Their players will always, I think, fairly have first dibs at All Black selections. But now you look at the Highlanders bringing through a generation of players who tactically is just as good. And then you have sprinkled in between the Highlanders, all these guys able to push. I mean, how hard is they always say the All Black coaching job is the hardest in the world. How can it be?
yeah, I agree.
You have all these stars.
You want to touch the other ones?
Yeah, so Richie Mo'unga, you mentioned earlier with his short kicking game, he was much better this week from a fantasy perspective than he was in round 1. 47 points. Cullen Grace had a bigger game as well, 44 points, although I don't think he's quite captured the sparkling form that we saw him when he made his debut at number 6 last year. Sam Whitelock, 42 points, is just another one of those forwards that you mentioned before that has the ability to either break the line himself or put others through holes. Yep. I think he was exceptional. And Nani Lamape from the Hurricanes ended up as the top scorer for their team on 46. The commentators mentioned that they were using Nani completely differently this year. Yeah. They're saying that they used to just cut the fly half and give it straight to him running flat. And they're not doing it this year. Instead, he's actually being a little bit more of a ball player and he's not trying to get them over the ad line as much. And to me, he feels really inactive, but clearly he's been somewhat effective with the points that he's racking up.
Yeah, that's what makes these point systems that you guys run quite interesting, because I also, having seen him last year and now with the role change, I was actually questioning whether he picked up weight or something was wrong, because for me, he also seemed just to not be in the thick of things. But yeah, you're absolutely right. They're using him differently. And if he picked up those points, would be something to watch moving forward to see. He's obviously effective in whatever new role they have for him.
Yeah, definitely.